Hello coaches, welcome back to another Modern Soccer Coach Breakdown. This week we are looking at scanning, the abilities for players to look around, gather information early and help with decision making. Got some session ideas and also got some bonus content in the form of a webinar with this as well. If you enjoy it, please like, please subscribe, please share with your coaching community. Really appreciate it. If you want more scanning ideas, the breakdown for these are on the link below on the website, and we've also got a scanning ebook as well if you want to go into more detail and more information. Thanks so much for the support. Scan and let's go. All right, before we take a look at scanning, it's an area of the game that has made huge strides in the last few years in terms of research, which has led to more conversations around scanning in the coaching community, which is a good thing, but I still think there's areas of improvement in terms of how we take that information and utilize that information to help understand it for coaches and to help impact environments like training sessions. One of the best in the business in terms of scanning is a man called Kevin McGreskin. Kevin's worked at the highest level. He's also put a ton of research and put a lot of coach education stuff around scanning as well. I had him as a guest on a webinar a couple of years ago, and if you want to watch the full webinar, you can check it out on the link below. Some bonus content for you, no login required. You can just check it out. It's on the website. Here is a quick clip from that webinar when Kevin talked about how detailed and depth scanning can become and challenges us to look a little bit closer at it. Here we go.
And I don't think the linear type of decision-making model is really appropriate for our games. And this is a really basic idea. There's some great models for decision-making out there. You can look at Gary Klein's work. A friend of mine, Len Zajkowski, wrote a book. So there's various decision models, but just to give you a quick insight there, what we're on about. So I call it see, think, play. Keep it really simple. And I keep that simple for my benefit. It makes it easier for me to remember. It makes it easier to present these ideas when I'm talking with coaches. Obviously, you might have your own terminology. And the important thing is whichever group of players that you're working with or the colleagues that you have, that you all understand the terminology that you're using, whatever that may be. Okay. Let's say I don't think it's linear. I think it's more a cyclical and continuous model where one feeds into the other and they're all interactive elements upon each other. And there's a few components. It's something I call in the referencing stage. That'd be the bit between the information you take in and it's getting processed to the brain. That's that link. And there's signals, situations, and scenarios. And again, if you want to ask about them in the Q&A, we can. Between the brain and the actual action, the output, there's what are called tactical tendencies and the technical elements that are in there that really guide that. And these aren't exhaustive lists. And then the localizing bit between actually action capabilities and where you look and how you process it. We've got what I call prospecting, perspective, and priming. And they're the key things that were actually one of those. They all link in together, but prospecting, that's really how the player moves about the field, gathering information, and how do they do that? But again, those things we can cover in the Q&A when we get to that, if you so wish. Really, when we're talking about awareness and we're talking about scanning and developing that kind of thing, this is the component that we're working on. How the players access the information that's out there in the field for them so they can make the best decision possible at any given moment in time in the game. Okay, so they've really got to be looking about. And what I often say is that players have got to look about in order to make a decision, an informed decision. If they don't look about, then really the technical term for any decision that they've made when they don't look about is a guess. And I don't really want my players playing on guesswork. I'd like them to make informed decisions as often as possible.
Okay, again, coaches, you can get the full webinar on the link below. Before you check that out, however, here are 3 training exercises to help with scanning in practice sessions. Here we go. All right, so the first one is small group work, groups of 3. One player in the middle is the attacker, one in the blue is the defender, and a server with the balls. Player passes the ball, the red player checks at an angle, and the blue player has to make a decision to go into one of the gates, and the red player is checking their shoulder all the time to see where the blue player is going and then passing it into the free gate. So again, ball moves, player takes an additional scan, looks at where the blue defender is, and the blue defender has to commit at the same time the ball is being played. It's 2 touches, so it's 1 touch to control, 1 touch to play. Again, way to pass is important because you want to test and challenge the player on the ball to have that look initially. 60-second sets, and then the players can change over. But it's a really good game in order to just warm up and get that activation and build those good habits. And then it develops into a different type of game, a 1v1 game where the mannequin goes and now the player is going to have pressure. And now again, they're looking at the type of pressure they're going to play, having that quick scan to see if it's coming aggressively, and then using that type of defending to their advantage potentially by twisting and turning out of pressure. And again, building good habits in order of when they're taking a look and seeing how much space they have. If the defender decides to stay, then maybe it changes the type of attacking that the attacker chooses with twisting and turning versus 1v1 movement. So some variation there. Again, 60-second sets, and then players can switch it up. So it's a really good warm-up activation exercise and allows you as a coach just to get those coaching points out there for the players as you practice it and before you go into small-sided games. Right, the next exercise is more of possession with the scanning, so looking around with pressure in order to circulate the ball. 5v2, 2-ball exercise, so simple. The 5 possession players in blue are looking to keep the ball away from the 2 defenders, but the 2 balls are moving at the same time, so the possession team start and try to maintain possession. 45 seconds with 2 balls is the target. Players are free to move anywhere inside the area, constantly looking at supporting both balls, so maybe pass to one, go support the other. And when they're moving around the square, the more movement you can get, then the more they're challenged with having to look and scan in that area in order to see where the space is, see where the defender is, and try to keep that ball moving around. If the defenders win the ball, into the mini goals for 2 points. And then the third idea is a 5v2, more of a positional component to this now with the possession. So a 3v1 in both areas. The 2 players on either side are looking to find the neutral in the middle, who's then looking at taking a touch and then a pass to transfer the ball to the other side. So again, the player in the middle is constantly looking and seeing where the defender is approaching in the middle on the other side, and then seeing which passing lane is potentially open as the ball is being transferred. So there should be high levels of success with the 3v1 component of this, constantly challenging the neutral player in the middle to make those decisions quickly and to circulate possession with 2 touches. Again, 45 seconds, change the player roles so everyone gets the repetition and the practice with the scanning.